Hello, world. What's up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We're here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is a comedian, actress, producer, host, writer, content creator, and singer. She's had videos featured on Funny or Die, Splitsider, MTV, Huffington Post, College Humor, and a ton more. And most recently, you can catch her as host of the new HQ Words, a live word puzzle game show on the HQ app. Folks, make a ridiculous amount of noise. The HQ wordsmith herself is here. Anna Roisman's in the building. Make some noise for Anna.
Thank
Come on.
you. Wow, thanks. Thanks, Matt. What an intro.
Oh, what a guest.
Thanks. That took like 7 minutes for you to just read.
It was a lot of, well, you did a lot of stuff, and I wanted to make sure that we hit all of it.
Great. I appreciate that.
Well, there you go.
And so does my mom.
I don't want, exactly. Well, I know she watches.
She is, yeah.
Yeah, she's a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure we're making Mama Roisman proud right now.
Thank you.
So. We're going to go through every one of those things, one at a time.
Love
Actor,
it.
comedian, writer, but we're going to do it all. I'm going to have you
Sure.
demonstrate each and every one of those talents before this conversation.
7 hours of live right now.
Just
right?
about.
Yeah.
It's the internet. It's unlimited live.
Great.
We've got all the live you need.
Bring it.
Congratulations on this show. The
Thank
first
you.
new show from HQ since they blew up with trivia, and then here we are. You get to be at the forefront of the new show,
So
HQ Words.
exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to you all about it. Not just about this show though, but as I was saying backstage, all the cool and fun stuff that you do. You do a lot of cool, fun stuff.
Aw, thank you.
I hope you know that.
I hope it's cool.
I think it's cool. I spent a lot of time looking at it. It looked pretty cool when I
Wow,
was looking
thank
at it. Yeah. Well, let's start with the first thing. You just recently had, and your HQ buddy was on there as well. Scott joined you for your 50th and last Facebook Live episode
Yes.
of The Unemployed Show. Am I getting that right? Yeah.
The Unemployed Show.
The
You got it right.
Unemployed
Some people
Show.
say unemployment show.
That's where I was tripping up mentally.
Yeah.
Even though I wrote it down, I was like, it's unemployed.
That was a choice, you know. Unemployed show sounded better than the unemployment show.
Yeah, well, the Unemployment Show implies a different show entirely.
It really does. Yeah, unemployed is like, you know, we could be employed tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
anything
Today we're unemployed.
Unemployment Show is like, here's how to help you right now while you're on unemployment. It's a different show.
It is, yeah.
What, for those that are unfamiliar with it, where did it come from? Why does this show exist? Why did you start doing it?
Okay, so I had a day job for 4.5 years. I worked for a venture capital firm. It was a cushy day job when you're an actor, and they let me go. And I had never been unemployed in New York City. Like, I've worked in restaurants, I've worked at bars, everywhere. But I had a severance package, which I didn't know what that even was until I got it. And then I was like, wait, I'm still being paid, but I don't work. This seems cool for a couple months. So I love making stuff. And I was like, what if I do a show about, like, how I can wear pajamas all day now? Like, because I can. It sounds sad, but it was beautiful and it was fun.
And thus the Unemployed Show was born.
Yeah. I mean, I literally went on Facebook and I was like, who's unemployed? And I had like 80
Evidently.
people be like, me. I was like, wow, there's a community out there of
What year
us.
was this that it started? It was
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I lost my job the day of the presidential election, actually.
Double whammy.
Double whammy, big time. Yeah.
What a rough blow.
I know. That was a hard day for all of us. But
Kind of lucky that you only funneled all that energy into a comedy show.
Right?
Like, that's a lot of stuff for a human to process.
Thank
that could have
you.
Gone anyway.
yeah.
And you turned it into a really funny show that you made with your friends. which is
Thanks.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Then it was like therapeutic. I'm like, I can't go a week without doing this. I love it. It's like my Thursday, hour. So.
Well, I bring it up for a multitude of reasons. One, as I've said, I've watched some of it, and it is funny, but also it seems really significant because it is like kind of the first time that you as a performer started messing around, just having to be live.
Yeah.
And be in front of an audience and just kind of fill air and
It's
fill
true.
content. Was that scary in the beginning, the idea of being live, or is that specifically why you did it? Because it was something you hadn't done yet? Like, what
Yeah,
made that happen?
it was kind of like I hadn't done it yet, and I started seeing people go on Facebook Live, and they were just kind of like on their phones walking down the street, and I was like, this is crazy. And it was like the birth of Facebook Live had just happened, and I was like, wait, could we do a show on this? Could we do something entertaining that's not just like, just one camera and like you're holding your phone up? And so I have a friend who works at Good Morning America, and he was like, yeah, I've got multiple cameras. We could cut it live. And I was like, great, I want to be Good Morning America. Can we do that? And
I've got a couch.
Yeah,
That seems
exactly.
to be 90% of what they require.
yeah, so I was
bring the camera.
Yeah, I was just like, let's try it. And you can see we had one camera, and then we had two, and then we moved to three. we do 3 in a phone. We like, you know, we really like experimented.
If you will.
Yeah. So
Were you obviously at that time you're exploring, you're just having fun and kind of doing all this stuff, but there's no way, you have no idea this is coming, but you're absorbing and you're learning. Are there things that you've taken with you now that you're working live all the time? You're like, oh, it's a good thing I messed around and got a chance to do this because it makes me really comfortable here doing this.
yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're live on your couch at home, you have to pretend everyone's obsessed with you, right? I think I got really good at being like, oh my God, there are billions of people watching this right now, even though there were like 30 maybe top, you know? But like, you kind of have to pretend the audience is there. I mean, I've only performed like live on a stage. I mean, it's different when you're on a set, you know, there's also a whole crew who's there, like everyone's here right now, you know? But like when you're alone, you just have to pretend they're there. And I think that was a tool I taught myself like over the years.
Is that something, now that you've had some experience, do you think it's it works to your advantage or not? Because like, here's the beauty: once these people start judging us, we're gonna know right away. Right, like they've already done it a little bit. We're 2 minutes in. We know that we've got that immediate feedback. When you're just pretending that there's an audience there, is it easier? Is it harder? What is it for you?
I think it was hard at first. At least on HQ, it's definitely a weird air. You know, you're like, oh. No, I wrote this really good joke. Is it killing right now? Or I have no idea. It's so funny because the producer who runs HQ, I always tell them if they're watching, I always tell them like, I love when I can see them smile like out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, I must be killing right now. She just smiled. Yeah. Or I like saw her say yes, like shake her head yes, like because they can't talk. But I'm like, every time you do that, you have no idea. My ego just like soars. So.
It's a really important skill set to have. You're right that you have to pretend that everybody cares about what you're doing, especially when you're self-producing and you're making a show from your couch and something like that. Because a lot of people are going to tune in, and if you're doing it right, they're going to go, "Who's this asshole that thinks I care about what they're doing on their couch?" Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that interaction with fans? How have you dealt with internet people that can just historically be awful and make assumptions and stuff like that? Taking the good with the bad? How has that been for you?
I mean, you can't read the comments. You can't.
They don't exist.
They don't, you know, and or you just read them and you take them, you know, for what they are. I don't know. I've done like a lot of stuff on YouTube, and like I've had death threats for like dumb videos. You know what I mean?
Threats?
Yeah, someone wanted to like kill me. They wanted to cut me with a bottle for like a music video I did. I was like, really? Like, get a life. Like,
what?
So like,
what? I'm not by any means justifying murder with a bottle for a music video, but for context, what was the video about? Do you remember?
I mean, it was an Avril Lavigne parody, and I don't think they understood.
No, you're fine. You're in the right. You're okay. Like, that's way an overreaction.
Right?
Yeah.
They thought they were like, Avril's the best and you suck. And I was like, well, yeah, she is the best. I'm just making fun of the song. Right. Anyway, I learned early on, you can't take those personally.
The thing is, too, what's so sad is, like, that is a valid argument to have with somebody. It doesn't need to escalate to murder via broken bottle. No. Like, you can just debate the merits of Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
That's what I meant when I was like, you were in the right. Not like, oh, you were right to shit on Avril Lavigne. No, she's great. But it's like, you were fine to have a comment on that.
Sure.
Like, there's no reason for that to go to murder.
Yeah. But anyway. You can't read the comments, right? You can't. You can't let them get to you. I did one day. I like kept reading them. Yeah.
What a dark day.
It was a dark day. I think I was probably just having a bad day, and then you read a bunch of people who say like, "Get rid of her." And you're like, "No."
I will say this though. No matter who I watch, because as I was telling you backstage, like my wife and I scream in her phone nightly, and we play both Words and HQ together on occasion. And when you read those comments, it is the internet. There are people in there. There are a lot of people I wouldn't say overwhelmingly, but like really positive people that are enjoying what's happening and just here to have fun and having a good time.
Yeah.
And I noticed too, in doing research for this and looking at some of your older stuff, people have discovered some of your older stuff because of HQ.
I know, that's so cool.
That's gotta be fun. Were you nervous about that at all going into like, oh man, people are gonna see all these things?
Tweets.
Yeah, exactly. My tweets, not my tweets.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really think much about it because otherwise I would have to like, I don't know, dive into my old Twitter. I probably should. Should I dive? I should probably
Everybody should at some point.
Yeah.
Just so
if
you
not,
know.
They will now.
Yeah. People are doing it right now that we brought it up.
Yeah. No, I didn't really think too much about it. I just it was kind of a fast process, and then we like started.
Has it been a cool thing since it started, since it's happened, to kind of like bear witness to that? Like, oh my gosh, look at this. People are watching this thing now. Like,
Yeah.
that's got to be fun, right? Are you like
Yeah.
calling up friends you worked on videos with and you're like, people are watching the thing. Like,
It's
more people are seeing it. Stuff
so cool. My camp counselor, who I haven't seen since I'm 15 years old, like won HQ Words one night and started tweeting like, yeah, Anna Roisman, she owes me 9 cents from like 2012 and like I'm getting it back tonight. And I was like, that's so cool. I haven't seen her. She lives in Chicago. Like I love that they're like discovering, you know, like stuff I do now. So
How did you rack up a 12-cent debt in camp 12 years ago?
I have no idea. Gum? I don't know.
I guess a single stick of Bazooka Joe gum would probably be it.
Probably. I'm like, can I borrow 12 cents? I need gum. That would be it.
What's like a typical day now that you're doing words? How much of your time has it consumed? What does it look like for you when you're getting ready to go and do an episode of HQ Words?
Sure. Yeah. So I write my scripts. A lot of people don't know that, but I do write. Yeah, I write all my scripts. That's awesome. I don't write the actual game. We have a writing staff.
Right.
And they, so I get the hints and I get the answers.
Cool.
And I take to my computer. I can write from wherever. Sometimes I go into the office, but I like to write at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just easy. Yeah. And I go in. We have a rundown meeting. We have a production meeting every day where we go over the script and, you know, we change stuff and we say it out loud and it's, I don't know.
See how it plays.
See how it works. Yeah. And then we do makeup and hair at like 7 and then I rehearse at 8 to 8:30 and then trivia's live at 9 and then I go live at 9:30.
Wow.
Yeah. That's like a typical day.
That's a lot though. I didn't realize that you were writing.
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously you do all those things I said in the intro. But that's really cool that you have that much hands-on with it and that it's not just like, oh, walk in, here's your cards, here are the words tonight. I'm really excited. I think I saw tonight's theme is The Office.
It is, yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah, I'm a big Office fan.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Are we playing?
We watched it. We're going to be playing tonight, but I mean, like, we've rewatched that show on Netflix a billion times.
Every Office fan has rewatched that series.
I don't know, and it wasn't. Oh, it's only happened in the past couple of years. That like we watched it when it was live. We loved it when it was on. We went back to it again a couple of years later, and then after we revisited it, maybe I don't know, 3-4 years ago, we were like, let's just watch it again. Like something weird happened when it was that readily available, and I didn't have to change a disc. I was like, oh, I could just keep watching this forever.
It'll just keep playing.
This is reality now, and like this is life, and we watch Office. So I'm a big Office fan, excited for tonight's game.
Cool.
Do you ever find yourself? Do you have to do a bunch of research, immerse yourself in a topic? Like how do you get ready? Like if it's a thing that you're not a fan of, like say you never watched The Office,
right?
You got to do Office night. You got idiots like me tuning in,
right?
Who've watched it 5 times. How do you get ready for that?
You gotta do your research. Well, I'm like, why? Do you know I don't watch The Office?
I don't. I watch The Office.
I mean, I've watched The Office, but I haven't rewatched it. You know what I mean?
No, I got you.
Last week we had Lord of the Rings night, and
that's a tough one. You're either in that world or not.
I am so far not in that world, and I was so nervous. And they were like, do you know how many theme nights Scott has done where he doesn't, necessarily know it, but he's so good. And so I like read all about Lord of the Rings. And I like
as much as you can.
As much as I could. I watched a lot of clips. I tried to get my Gollum voice down. I was like, I'm gonna be so good on Lord of the Rings. I don't think people knew. One person on Twitter was like, Anna's never seen Lord of the Rings.
You have no idea what these movies are about, dude.
Yeah. And I was like, my brother always begged me to watch all of them with him, and I never did. I was like, oh, man, if only he lived in New York, we could have done it this week. It would have really helped me.
Oh, what a sweet moment that could have been.
I know, could have.
There's like 13 hours worth of those movies, though. Yeah. There's a lot.
Instead, my brother probably played and was like, wow, she is just failing right now.
Are there other? I'm not at the risk of you pulling the curtain too far back, but how often are there like those pop culture blind spots that this had happen frequently? Because you've been spending a lot of your time creating content for a majority of the past however many years, so that easily happens. People that don't realize, like when it's our job to talk about pop culture and be a part of it, that we don't necessarily get a chance to consume every last bit of it. So like, how often do you find yourself like, oh no, I got to figure out what happened in the last 8 seasons of The Simpsons? Like, you know what I mean? But no, to be fair, nobody's watching season 11. But like, what is your pop culture blind spot?
Oh, it happens. It happens more often than I wish. Yeah, I don't know, because like you're saying, I don't watch everything, but I'm happy to do my research. Like, so I think that I almost feel like, oh, I'm working so much harder today because I have so much to learn.
But that's like you want that quality. You want to be able to be the person that says, I care enough to figure out what Lord of the Rings is about.
Sure. But I also, like, it's funny because our head writer, I'm always like, oh my God, I don't know this one. And he'll be like, you're fine. It's also words. So, like, I don't necessarily have to deliver all of the trivia about this topic, you know?
You got a little bit of grace there.
It could be like, what do they want? A ring. There you go.
You just have to spell
Right, I'm
fellowship.
good. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. That's really as far as it's got to go.
Hobbit. I got it.
There you are. Perfect. And then you're right on the money.
Thank you.
So how did this bridge the gap? How did it all happen? How did you go from making videos like I Tanya or no I
Nancy.
I Nancy
Yeah,
rather,
yeah.
sorry and all that stuff? How did you jump that into HQ Words?
So I actually auditioned for HQ Trivia like a long time ago.
No way.
Because I'm friends with Scott,
Yeah.
and he, like, it's so funny when it first came out, he was like, I'm doing this new app. I don't really know what it is yet, but I'm working a lot. I might need a backup host. Yeah. And I was like, cool. And I went in and I auditioned for trivia. And I thought I killed. I was like, this was great. I, of course, booked it. I didn't book it. They were awesome, the people I met there. And then I kind of kept in touch with our producer. And, you know, he, a year later, was like, hey, we're launching a new game. We think you'd be cool for it. Do you want to come in? And I went and auditioned. And again, I didn't hear anything for like 3 weeks. And I was sitting at a temp job, and I was just like wanting to cry. It was this awful office in Midtown that just like, they were just so not nice. And I was like, I got to get out of here. I haven't heard back. And I emailed them and was like, hey, am I still in the mix? Like, because he was like, we'll get back to you. And then he's like, yeah, do you want to come in for a callback? And I wore a white pantsuit. I was like, you know, I'm going to be Olivia Pope, and I'm going to go in, and no one will get this job besides me. And it worked. It was a white pantsuit.
Worked. Yeah, it was the white pantsuit.
Yeah.
To this day, you credit the white pantsuit.
I wore it the night we like launched the show. I wore the
really?
same pantsuit. Yeah, I got like sentimental. It was so weird.
Like your lucky pantsuit?
I think so.
it is.
And it's just like an H&M. It was like a really cheap pantsuit that I got.
Doesn't matter where it's from.
You know?
It's a special suit.
Good luck. I know Nick, who's my boss. Nick loves the white pantsuit. He was like, that white pantsuit. I'm like, there you go. That's why I got the job.
That's it. That is literally it.
Profesh.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn it over to the audience in just a second, but I'm really just excited for you. Like I said, you did your 50th episode of the Unemployed Show. Obviously, you're very employed right now.
Thanks.
Puts
a little bit.
Yeah, puts a ding in the brand there. But what are you looking forward to doing? Now, I imagine this has opened some doors. Obviously, you're very busy. You're writing a lot. You're doing the show all the time.
Yeah.
But are you still focusing on? Are you still doing stand up? Are you still doing comedy outside? I know you just did a live show recently, Unemployed Live. Like, what are you doing? By day before you get in there and do all this. What's going on now?
I am still working on the Unemployed Show. I have so many versions of it. I'm trying to pitch it around. Hopefully, one day I can make it not on my couch, but a couch like this, like a nice couch. Someone else's couch.
We have a lot of couches here.
Cool. Great. Are you guys taking pitches right now? No, yeah, I'm working on the Unemployed Show. I write scripted stuff too, so I'm like really excited about an animated pilot that I'm writing that I really hope to make one day. And
That's super cool.
yeah, and I do stand-up shows. It's hard because you can't really between that like 7 and 9 hour. It's
That's
a little
like the golden hour.
difficult. Yeah, but I figured it out. Like I did an 8 o'clock show last week. I did a 9:30 show. So I'm still doing all my stuff. I just have other work on top of it, which is great.
That's a great problem to have.
It's a great problem.
That's
to
an
have,
awesome
you know?
problem. Speaking of awesome problems, I got 2 questions I got to get to here. Kate, where's the first one? It's going to be right over here. I see a microphone. Pick it up. Let's see. It might be you. You won. Yeah, it's on. It's on.
$60 million.
Oh, it's on. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
So, actually, do we have time for 2 questions?
Yeah, ask as many as you want.
Okay. So my first question is, so recently, there was a puzzle, I believe, it was like fizzy or like popped or something like that.
It was fizzy or wait, it was still or fizzy? No,
I
it was
forget.
fizzy or.
I have no idea, but all I remember is that a
was
lot
supposed
of
to be
people got out on that one. And so my first question is, do you remember any other puzzle that was like as quote unquote savage as that one?
Well, we call it schooled.
Oh.
I don't know if you've noticed. I've never said savage on words because we really want to make it like, here's
thing,
you're going to get schooled if you don't get it. The fizzy one, I remember, yes, big time. Is there another? It was like supposed to be flatter. It was flatter fizzy. That's what it was. And a lot of people are angry. They said no one asks you if it's fizzy. they say sparkling, which, can I be honest, 6 hours earlier, I was like, you're right, I feel like it should be sparkling, but it stayed fizzy.
Controversial.
It was. Even in the office, we were like, should it be this? Should it be that? Yeah, that was a big one. I'm trying to think of what else was a big schooled puzzle.
In Europe, they say with gas.
With gas.
Yes.
You want it with gas.
You want it with or without gas? Yeah,
wow, they must get so many Americans who just laugh in their face.
Yep,
like,
bunch of dumb Americans like me giggling at them.
Right. Fart joke? No. I'm trying to think what was a big one. What was a big one we were out on? We've done like 80 games in the past 2 months. Can I get back to you on that?
Yeah, sure.
I'm terrible.
You got a follow-up or second?
Yeah.
My second question is, I play HQ Words like once in a while because I have night classes as a student, and so once in a while I'll like play, and obviously midterms is coming up, so I gotta study. But like when I play all those times, I see Chad 1M at the top of the leaderboard.
Yes.
When did you realize this guy is like a hardcore word nerd?
So he's played HQ Trivia for a really long time too. He's like an HQ wizard, I guess you should call him. He's very good at mobile game shows, and he's very upset.
Everyone has their thing.
Yeah, he gets very upset when people call him a bot because he is a human, and he posts YouTube videos of him playing. Like he's very dedicated. He screen records and then he posts himself playing. I don't know. He's just like a really super smart person. But like, our engineers can tell when there's, when they're not human. He's very human. So
very human.
Yeah, he's just really good.
Arguably the most human out of all of us.
I know. We should have a game. Like Beat Chad.
Yeah. Have a Chad night.
Chad night.
Oh, he'd be into it.
He would love this right now. I hope Chad has watched Chad.
Him and your mom are having a viewing party right now. They're watching this together. Thank you for your questions. That was great. Kate, do I have time? I got one more. We're going to do one more question from over here. Go for it.
Hi. I won 3 cents the other night, and I tweeted at you.
Congrats.
I also tweeted at you that I'd be here.
Cool. Congrats.
And Matt, you moderated the first build that I ever went to.
Oh, welcome back.
Aw.
I'm so glad I didn't turn you off from the show. That's wonderful.
You should have tweeted your 3 cents at Matt, too. Yeah.
No, it was the Rhett and Link one.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Wow, you are an old school fan. What's your name?
Emma.
Emma. Welcome back, Emma. It's super awesome to have you here.
And I have a question for Anna. What's the most surreal thing that's happened to you since you started hosting HQ Words?
Great question. The most surreal thing. Aside from being live in front of hundreds of thousands of people a night, that's pretty surreal. When my boss was like, that's 5 Madison Square Gardens. You put that into perspective and you're like, huh? Like, it's so weird. You want to know, this is going to sound silly, but I've never been recognized as like Anna before. And I did a comedy show last week, and the bartender was like, I play words with my husband every night. And he was so cute. And I was like, you're my new best friend. Like, no one's ever known me through the app before. So that was cool. I mean, Scott is a major celebrity, but I was like very excited. That was surreal for me, even though it was like a tiny bar, little show, but it was so cool.
When you were told it was multiple Madison Square Gardens, did you immediately like, oh God, did I scratch anything weird on air? Do you like go in your head of like, I was just in front of all these people? Like,
Yeah.
do you rethink? Do you have like a mini panic attack of like 10 seconds and then go, no, I know what I'm doing. But like, does your brain go there? Like,
A little. I can watch the games back. Sometimes I watch them back.
do you really?
Yeah, and I have it right now. I always have my hair thing on my wrist, and it bothers me anytime I'm watching it back. Or I'm like, oh my goodness, why did I say that? I don't know. I'm very hard on myself, so I think I try not to think, once you do it, you got tomorrow night to make it even better.
Yeah,
so that's the thing, right? You get it when you're live on these things.
100%.
If you do something you're not happy with, you're like, well, the next interview will be
I did an interview last night. I was asking a question. I said a word I didn't mean to say, and I rambled for like 13 seconds before I finally got the question out. Everything was fine. I beat myself up about it the entire way home, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do like 10 more of these in the next week and a half. I just got to keep moving forward. You can't beat yourself up.
Last night I said my name wrong on the show. If anybody played, I said Erna or something, and I noticed it. It was like all I thought about for the next 20 minutes, but I'm like, no one else noticed, but unless you did. But I was like, what did I do? Yeah.
Erna.
So I hope I get it tonight, I say my name right.
That's a great bar to set for yourself, though.
I was like, Word and Anna, and I was like, Erna. What?
If I could just get my name right tonight, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah,
that's it.
They give you points for it on the SATs. You might as well win them over with your name.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for coming and hanging
Thanks
out
for
with us.
having me.
Of course.
This is awesome.
I'm glad you had a good time. We got to wrap things up. Kate's giving me the signal, and she hates when I blame her. It's not your fault, Kate. You don't control time.
We love you, Kate.
But I do got to wrap it up. I want to remind everyone, HQ Words, part of the HQ Trivia and Words app. What time every night?
9:30. 9:30 Eastern.
9:30 Eastern. All right, there we go. Everybody, do me a favor. Make a ridiculous amount of noise. Join me in thanking the great Anna Roisman for being here. Anna, thank you.